On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The thing that just seems to be spreading, and that it definitely is. Now, does the deep state have the power to pull off what they're trying to? I'm almost sure they don't. How bad this needs to get, I think, is where it's going to get. And we'll see what that exactly is. But there are a number of cities right now. I think we've got Texas, Florida, California, New York. So, yeah, a lot of things going on. I got a lot of news to cover, so I'm going to jump into it. Got a bunch of video, got a bunch of stuff. I got to start off here with Trump talking about this parade that's coming up. Just right off the bat, this is super cool. 250 years for the Army. Also, a lot of people making a big deal about this in a negative way. But here's kind of the tricky part about that. Trump's actually paying for a good chunk of this with his own money and with donations. I don't think much, if any, is coming out of a budget from the United States.
Mr. President, you've got a big, beautiful parade coming up on Saturday.
We do. What's
your biggest expectations for that? And I've got a second question in regards to Gavin Newsom. Go ahead and talk about the big, beautiful parade.
Thank you, Brian. It's such a, I think, important moment for this country. 2 weeks ago I was calling people and back and forth with leaders, including President Putin, including French president, including lots of different people. And all of them said, we're celebrating victory in World War II. And I said, wow, isn't that amazing? We're the only one that wasn't celebrating, and we're the one that won the war. But France was celebrating, but we're the one that won it, and we weren't celebrating. I said to myself, isn't that crazy? And I think it's time for us to celebrate a little bit. We've had a lot of victories. We won 2 world wars, and then we go out and change the name of the forts where we won the wars. But I think it's a time to celebrate our military. We've rebuilt our military largely, but we have a military the likes of which nobody has. Nobody comes close. We have the best equipment in the world. We make the best equipment in the world. There's no military like our military. I think it's time that we celebrate. And I sort of have to laugh at these people. Well, you're going to spend a lot of money. A lot of that money is being paid for by me and people that make donations. I don't know if you know that. A lot of it won't even come out of the military. I think I can say that, Susie, right? We have people putting up money to do it. Not that it's necessary, because I think it's a great expenditure. So it's really a celebration of the Army. So the Army is a year older than the country. So next year we celebrate 250 years, but we're celebrating the Army on Flag Day. And it's not my birthday. It is my birthday, but I'm not celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating Flag Day. It happens to be the same day, so I take a little heat. But Flag Day is the appropriate date. And we're celebrating 250 years of the Army, a great service. It's on June 14th, and it's going to be a parade the likes of which I don't know if we've ever had a parade like that. It's going to be incredible. We have even though it's the Army, we have a lot of those Army airplanes flying over the top, and we have tanks all over the place, and we have thousands and thousands of soldiers going to bravely march down the streets. It's going to be a beautiful day, I think, and we're going to celebrate our country.
What would be the Army airplanes? Just question to you, okay? Would that be the Osprey? Would that be... Because otherwise they're pretty much helicopters, right? I didn't think they had airplanes per se, though the Osprey, I think, would qualify as one. Whatever. Elon Musk hints that the explosive fallout between the two, might be cooling off. President Trump kind of broed him out a little bit. President Trump did and said the right thing, and so Elon Musk is feeling a little better about things, maybe.
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I may move the Tesla around a little bit, but I don't think we'll be doing that with Starlink. It's a good service.
Where are you going to move it to? Move it around. What do you mean?
I have a lot of locations.
Actually, about the Tesla.
I got so many locations that I don't know what to do with them all.
About the Tesla,
did you ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
And I tried to
They did have an argument. But I didn't see a lot of physicality there.
And there was this New York Times report that he did not want to talk about, Elon Musk, that alleged that he, towards the end of his time in the White House, was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal. Do you think he ever had drugs here at the White House?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I hope not. Look, I wish him well. You understand. We had a good relationship, and I just wish him well. Very well, actually. Yeah.
It's really that last part that matters, but I wish him well. I wish him very well. And supposedly Elon Musk is throwing a little love on that one. A little bit of a, we got a heart emoji on that one. So that, I mean, you know, in a bromance, I'm just saying in a bromance, that's pretty much, that's what it comes down to right there. That's what it comes down to, folks. All right, so the Dems are kind of, well, they're self-destructing in a very, very interesting way. Everybody sees it. Anybody that wants to continue to be a part of it is very much on the communist train. So we're seeing the kind of separation away. The heavy, hardcore socialist communists that want to force behavior on other people. That's essentially the group of people that are getting isolated. And a lot of them are mentally unwell. Just kind of goes with the territory. That's kind of how you get to that place. So we need to be aware of it. There's a lot of examples of it. I mean, what I think is funny, though, is screaming this to all the people out there that are Democrats. Like, this is your party. This isn't us. You can't blame Trump on us on this one. This is just you guys grabbing the wrong side of stuff, having problems within your own party. One of the examples is this David Hogg dude. They hate him. He's apparently in charge of the Democratic National Committee. I think he won by a vote or something. They are desperately trying to figure out how to get him out of there. They hate him. He is not going along with what they want to do. He's actually trying to primary the ones that, in his mind, suck. Again, he's probably not somebody that we want. He seems to me very socialist. He seems like they're essentially hijacking the Democratic National Committee from within, which, okay, I mean, frankly, I'd love to see that because it just makes it even easier for us because the percentage of people that support the nonsense they're doing is pretty small, to say the least. Here's Stephen Miller talking a lot about my point with the Democrats and just the strange path they keep choosing.
This is a person that was a clear and present danger to the safety of the American people. And it is a sad reflection on the state of our media and many of the outlets represented in this room that you obsessively try to shill for this MS-13 terrorist. Well, no coverage occurred in your papers about any of the Americans that were raped and tortured and murdered by the illegals that Biden was importing into our country. You know, you talk about due process. The Biden administration made the decision to give extensive due process to two trained Nicaragua terrorists that were apprehended at the border just a couple years ago. They were two gentlemen. They were from Venezuela. They were members of Trained Nicaragua. The Biden administration and Border Patrol apprehended them and made the decision to provide them with extensive due process, put them onto a program known as supervised release, and put them on ankle monitors so that they could go through a lengthy legal judicial determination as to whether these legal aliens who had just set foot on U.S. soil might want to live in the United States for the rest of their lives. What was the result of that decision? What was the result of that choice that was made? Those two men kidnapped a young girl named Jocelyn Ungary from her family. They beat her, they sexually assaulted her, they tortured her, they stripped her, they murdered her, and they dumped her body. That is what the Biden administration's policy was. Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened. To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you that sides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can. If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists or Mexican mafia or Sinaloa cartel or Trained Nicaragua, I couldn't pay you to live there. But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered. So you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our country.
Huge, right? Like, where Now, there's many wondering, like, where was this in his first term? His first term, he was worried about a second term. That was a big part of it. You can't do crazy radical stuff in a first term when you're worried about a second term. Right now, that's not so much the issue. Now, we do have to worry about midterms, but the bigger problem is whether or not we're going to get a fair election. That's still numero uno. Now, there's been much work done on registration, the databases and all this. So hopefully Doge continues to do some help. I think the timing of it's going to be critical. We'll see. Hopefully the legal BS is not too strong, but whatever. We'll get there when we get there. Dozens of anti-ICE protesters busted in at the Trump Tower. I don't know if I want to. We'll play this. This is just a bunch of old friggin' silver-haired people. No offense for the silver-haired people in my audience, but still.
Bring them back!
You have to leave. You have to leave.
Bring them back!
If you don't leave, you'll be arrested.
Bring them back!
Rapists and murderers back.
Oh my Lord, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. It would be funny if they walked in there like when the cops are coming in, they've got guns out there like, so we told them they can leave. They had to leave. They have to leave. They're not leaving. We can shoot them now, right? Just to scare them. I mean, of course you wouldn't want to do that. No. The answer is no. California files lawsuit against Justice Department over its transgender athlete order. You know, the whole thing letting men compete in women's sports. It's so weird because it's like a thing I grew up here. Again, bra burning kind of mom. And it was always about like women power, women can do anything better than men or whatever, you know? And it's like, all right, totally. It's not really true, but you know, you just grow up thinking that stuff. Like I could lift you up and move you out of the way if I had to. But yeah, this is insane. This is men pretending to be women, just destroying them in sports, destroying them. By the way, the WNBA, I'm very questioning. I would love to see, I don't know if I've said it yet, I'm not saying it again. They've got to do that chromosome test on everybody in the WNBA. I want to see it done for everybody. Everybody needs to know women's sports needs to be women's sports. You can be a freak of nature as a woman, that's fine. They exist, we know that, but not all of them. Not all of them, folks, I'm telling you. Act Blue, this is cracking me up, man. Act Blue says GOP investigation might be a partisan violation of the Constitution. Act Blue, you know, where they're doing all this illegal funneling of money for the Democrat Party. The fact that the FBI, which is basically the executive branch, right, and Congress are both looking into this company. They're like, well, that's just unfair. That's a violation of the Constitution. I love how everything that's done against the deep state, like it's a violation of the Constitution, and everything they do against our constitutional rights is to further democracy. I freaking dislike these people. But you know, we move forward. Rep Hakeem Jeffries. I'm going to play a small smidge of this just to piss myself off. That's the only reason I'm going to do it. But my point to pay attention to is there seems to be a lot of empty chairs. Like the key speaker's speaking. Like the big guy is talking. Hakeem is talking.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The American people have a constitutional right to peacefully assemble, to express themselves.
Right. None of us, I don't want to put my audience to sleep. I just want to say things over a period of time. It kills me how he talks. I'm not making up.
And to petition the government to redress any grievances that they may have with.
Am I shitting you? No. Okay, sometimes he says two words. Yeah, I feel like if you don't get it out sometimes, it's just going to stay inside and just bounce around. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I asked a question to Grok. I was trying to do some basic searching, and I'm like, well, this is just not popping up simply. I said, how many, rank the top 5 cities based off the numbers of riots they've had. Like I was like LA. I'm like LA. Since I've been alive, or lived here, I should say specifically, but since I've been here / alive, we've had a bunch of riots, not just one. We've had multiple, 3, I think, so far. Maybe 4, depends how you, I don't know. Dude, I mean, Black Lives Matter, that was one for everybody, kind of. Whatever, however you define it. But I was like, what are the most riot-prone cities? What are the ones that riot the most? Who are the rioters amongst us? And I said, Grok, I need your help. Now, of course, I just got Grok 3. Grok 4 is coming, I think. But Grok 3 basically said, look, this is awesome. Made me feel good. It's exactly what it was exactly what I expected. New York City is number 1. Los Angeles, number 2. Chicago, number 3. Detroit, number 4. Philadelphia, number 5. Is this not the top 5 Democrat cities? Am I wrong on that? Am I wrong? See, that's what you get with a Democrat city. You get riots. Now, you can hate Republicans all you want, but I'll tell you what, Republicans like guns. Shooting's fun. I don't care. I'm game on that. And talk about God and religion and all that. Shoot, that's not a bad thing either. Amen. Bless your heart and all that good stuff. Right? So far, no problems. When they talk about fire, they talk about fire and meat. It's usually a barbecue. It smells delicious. I'm in on that. They certainly are opposed to drinking. They're kind of weird with sex, by the way. You guys are a little, no offense, you guys are a little kind of like afraid of like kinky shit. I don't know what it is. What's going on with that? I'm going to get you guys kind of loosened up a little bit or something. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys are different. Maybe. Who knows? So, like this real like must be, missionary always, right? Like, so anyway, whatever. We're getting off track. These are the top 5 cities you would expect. This is, I mean, it is spelling itself out to everybody. It's showing everybody exactly the problems we're having. Tell you what, the Wellness Company is a great company. The Wellness Company. So that's why we got twc.health /OTF. twc.health /OTF. They've got a couple really, really awesome products. First off, the Contagion Kit I really recommend. And their medical emergency kit, just to have antibiotics and antiviral medications. Both of those kits are going to cover you from just about every angle that you could possibly hope for. They've got first aid. They've got a travel kit, stuff that if you got kids, probably a good idea to consider getting the kids that. Maybe a good Father's Day gift, might add. But they've got a couple very big in the saving your life kind of way. The longevity one, I don't think, no. I think they got the... I think they pulled the other one back for a sec. We'll get back to that. But this parasite cleanse, I'm still doing my version of it, and it is it's again I'm noticing a lot of very interesting things. I had a little place that was itching. I told you guys about that yesterday. That is actually getting smaller. It is itching less. It's not. I can't physically feel it on my skin like I used to be able to. My digestive system in general. The bloating I was experiencing, many things have gone away completely. I do have better energy. I still think it's not totally there, and I think, honestly, some of that's just coming down to diet at this point. I need to make a small adjustment there. And again, I try to change things one at a time, for me anyways, when I'm trying to think, so I can explain it to you guys. If I change too many things at once, it becomes challenging. So I am using the collagen peptide too right now, which could be helping the skin thing, but I think more of that, I don't know, probably both, who knows. If you do any research at all into parasites, you'll freak out. It will freak you out. And it's not the intention here. But there are a lot of places and a lot of things that are being tied back to parasites. Parasites make a lot of sense to me in that they're something that's essentially living off of you, not doing you any benefit at all, and harming you. And so one of the things to consider, if you literally do have things that are in your body living that aren't necessarily trying to help you but are living off of you, their waste products could create a toxic environment for cells. A toxic environment for cells could translate into cancer. Now, cancers will continue to grow as that toxic area grows or continues to stay present. Now, most treatments involve treating the cancer, the cells that are already jacked up. They're jacked up because of the excretion of these parasitic cells or parasitic creatures. So we always treat it from the backwards place. We don't fix the thing that's causing the cancer. We try to treat the cancer. And that's why, if you've paid any attention also, people that tend to go through chemo 5 years later tend to go through it again. And if they're lucky, 5 years later, they'll go through it again. Most people don't get past that third one. They'll either make it past it, but they won't get to the fourth. It's one of the two. But we never actually deal with the thing that's excreting the stuff that's causing the cancer. Parasitic cleanse is a huge deal. This stuff's powerful. It's a strong ivermectin dose. Again, the wellness company, there's doctors involved. You're doing this legally. This is totally cool. It's okay. I don't even think YouTube can technically get mad at me for it. It is a parasitic cleanse. You got 90 tablets. It's a 3-month supply. It's a one shot. Let's do this. Let's hit this thing hard. 25 milligrams of ivermectin, 250 milligrams of mebendazole. That's a bam. 90 pills once a day. You're going to trip. And if you're one of the people right now that's maybe got a test coming up, I recommend it. There is a lot of studies suggesting this could possibly make an enormous difference in the big picture. Get your diet on track. Make sure you're taking a cleanse. Get a good, solid cleanse. But really look into nutrition. Really, really look into what you're eating. Either stop eating some of the crap you were eating or start eating healthier, better foods, livelier foods, and you'll also see benefits as well. But again, there's a lot to be said. There's sugar, right? There's a lot of little things. It's not just a simple process, but the parasitic cleanse is a big deal. The sugars are probably feeding that. I actually think Wi-Fi is exciting it. I think that some of this 5G stuff is actually starting to excite a specific kind. So kill it off. Put away with it. Be done with it, right? I forget what Jesus would say. To the devil damn you, or I don't even know. I wish I had some sort of cool thing to say. But go to twc.health/OTF. TWC, the wellness company. twc.health/OTF. And seriously, clean the stuff up. This is under bestsellers. Typically the ivermectin mebendazole. Yeah, easy to say. They've got amazing supplements. So if you guys have anything that you're trying to work on, losing weight, gaining weight, up and down, whatever, you got sleep issues, they got all that stuff going on. Issues with hair. There is a hair thing that I feel like is the thing they're hiding right now that used to be there. I don't know what happened to it. I think they pulled it back. But all said, it's a great company, and they are doing their best to try to help you guys get legitimate products that can keep you alive. Go to twc.health/OTF. All right. All right, so quick thing kind of on the Insurrection Act of apparently 1807. So the law has its origin in 1792 legislation that allowed the federal government to call up state militias to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. The 1807 Insurrection Act added additional powers for the president, including the ability to deploy active duty federal troops without the request or support of state government actors. It provides some of the only exceptions to the Posse Comitatus Act, an 1878 law that generally forbids the use of military against American citizens. Those exceptions include suppressing insurrections, enforcing federal authority, and protecting civil rights when states' authorities fail to act. Nevertheless, federal troops and guardsmen can be deployed in certain circumstances even without the invocation of the act. In such cases, they are permitted to protect federal personnel and property, but cannot make arrests or perform other law enforcement activities unless the president invokes the insurrection law. Although he has not yet officially invoked the act, on June 7th, Trump announced he had authorized 2,000 National Guard troops for deployment to Los Angeles to quell the riots, right? Despite objections by California Governor Gavin Newsom, The Pentagon on June 9th confirmed that 700 additional U.S. Marines were going to be deployed from Camp Pendleton and from 29 Palms, I believe. There were some additionals added. So that is what has happened. What essentially, long story short, these guys are coming in to protect and defend the ICE agents, federal troops essentially being protected by the military. The military is not there for law enforcement. The military is not there to arrest anybody. The military is there to protect the officials who are there legally to arrest people. If anybody comes out and starts attacking them, the military can respond to them with God knows what kind of force. That's where the concern here lies. But that is what happens. They are able to respond back with force to protect the ICE agents being attacked. The reason the ICE agents are being attacked is because California failed to do anything. 2 hours, ICE was being attacked, and the LAPD did nothing. 2 hours, and the Los Angeles Police Department did nothing. Now, I don't know when the sheriff got involved, but I know they did, and I know there was a separate train going on in that whole regards. I also know LA sheriff aren't necessarily as solid as Orange County sheriff. There's just no question around it. So this whole idea of the posse comitatus and the Insurrection Act is going to depend largely on how extreme this gets. How many states this is able to fire up in. Are they just trying to warm it up for the 14th because they want this to happen on Trump's birthday? So they're trying to get these things going, get the presence there, and then truly fire them up in the near future. We'll see how it plays out, but these
There's
videos...
no excuse for the kind of violence that we saw yesterday. It is counterproductive. When individuals get crowbars and start prying open doors to loot, they're not protesting. They're not making a statement. They're stealing. When they burn down a building, they're committing arson. And they're destroying and undermining businesses and opportunities in their own communities. That is not a protest. That is not a statement. A handful of people taking advantage of a situation for their own purposes, and they need to be treated as criminals. The criminals and thugs who tore up the place.
Yeah, that's what we'd like to see happen, wouldn't we? If only. Here's Speaker Johnson talking about the crazy shit coming out of Maxine Waters' face.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What is your reaction to Congresswoman Maxine Waters repeatedly saying that there has been no violence in the LA riots? And do you believe that Democrats are making a mistake by not talking about what's really going on here?
Clearly, the Democrats are making a mistake by taking the wrong side here, and I'm just going to, in my southern gentlemanly way, say bless her heart to Maxine Waters. I don't even know how to comment on Maxine Waters anymore. It's madness. I'm going to be charitable and leave it right there. Yes, sir.
I love this dude. Can't help it. Love him. Here is President Trump taking the question about the idea of arresting Gavin Newsom, because of course Gavin Newsom's freaking out about this in his own weird kind of way.
Hold him. To come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I was Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it's a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget. What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems in LA? Are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators? The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
Yeah, they are. And to the point he was trying to make is they are, in fact, bad people. We're going to get there. I got Tom Homan describing it here at some point. But President Trump here talking about the primary crime of Gavin Newsom right now, especially in regards to whether or not he should be arrested. I thought this was kind of funny.
Yep.
And what crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you had
I think his
suggested earlier.
primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it. And we're doing something about it.
Yeah, Gavin's not. Gavin's not doing anything about it because he wants to appease all these people. Babylon B put this out, which is I thought that was pretty funny. But Trump responds to mostly peaceful protest with mostly peaceful military. News at 11. Yeah, I added that part. Okay. Donald Trump truth this. Quote, if they spit, we will hit. End quote. This is a statement from the President of the United States concerning the catastrophic Gavin Newsom-inspired riots going on in Los Angeles. The insurrectionists have a tendency to spit in the face of National Guardsmen, women, and others. These patriots are told to accept this. It's just the way life runs. Not on the Trump administration. If they spit, we will hit. And I promise you they will be hit harder than they have ever been hit before. Such disrespect will not be tolerated. Here is why Trump took over the National Guard from California. This is why Newsom is so pissed off, because Newsom would have them stand there and get spit on and say, you're not allowed to engage. You're not allowed to engage. You just have to take it. So you got all these people that are essentially throwing stuff at him, these dudes getting injured, only to let the protesters essentially win. And Trump's like, no, I'm taking over your National Guard. I can legally do that. Don't care what you think. And no, I'm going to tell them, no, hit them back. If they spit on you, pop them. I'll tell you, it'll stop a lot of stuff. Because even though you might not arrest them, you pop one guy in the face, especially with one of them things. I don't know, whatever's in their hand. They got some stuff usually. Wow, they're not going to be hitting anybody else the rest of the day. I mean, I don't like the idea of beating down people, but when you assault somebody, like I was on a jury trial one time. I was one of the first people to get thrown off. Thank God, frankly, but it was a fight. Apparently it happened. I didn't get all the details because it was before I was on the actual case, but the fight supposedly had happened within like a bar or something like that. And altercation occurred and you got two people that were suing each other. And I just straight up said, I said, this might be a problem for one side, but I said, whoever threw the first punch is guilty. I said, that's for sure. And they're like, you can't be objective about that. And I'm like, what's there to be objective about? Whoever threw the first punch, guilty. You started the fight. The fight started there. Right? You can say whatever you want to say. That's sticks and stones, right? Like, that's just established. So he took Gavin Newsom's weakness away from him. He emasculated Gavin Newsom. I mean, it might not be fair to call it emasculation because that would imply that Gavin Newsom had some level of masculation, which he's one of the most emasculine dudes that's out there. See if we can get this to pull up, get around whatever the hell this thing is. ABC reporters, what did they take this down? Just doesn't exist anymore? Come on, pop it open.
Large group of people.
There we go. So yeah, this is important to hear. This is how ABC News out here, LA ABC affiliate. I don't know what their call letters are. This is them. This is them saying this. This is what they believe. This is what they put out on the air.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Having fun watching cars burn.
Just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into, it is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into, just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into.
Into what, a larger problem? I mean, the fact that a bunch of friggin' cars are on fire is not a problem? Charlie Kirk had border czar Tom Homan on. Pretty good little piece here. Check it out.
Separate fact from fiction. What is going on in the ground in L.A. and what transpired this last weekend?
Well, the riots, of course, they call them protesters, but, these people that are burning cars, attacking our officers, throwing Molotov cocktails, they're criminals. And what they're not talking about is why ICE was here in the first place. They started protesting after an operation on Friday. I came here to lead that operation. It's a criminal operation. We were serving search warrants at a business that is a part of a bigger overall criminal conspiracy investigation dealing with money laundering, tax evasion, and customs fraud. So some of these companies, like one company, failed to claim over $86 million in imported goods and failed to pay like $17 million in tariffs. And it's a part of overall criminal conspiracy involving many companies where investigators think some of this money is being funneled down to Mexico and Colombia to fund the cartels and their activities. So we went and served a warrant. We arrested about 40 people at that place. And then we had some other operations in a nearby city. But what they're not telling you is we arrested a lot of public safety threats in that city. We arrested Vietnamese national that we know went to a graduation party and got kicked out and got a assault rifle and a shotgun, came back and killed 2 young teenagers at that party. We arrested a sexual predator. We arrested somebody that his crime was penetration with a foreign object. And just imagine how terrible that person is. We arrested people that are arrested, convicted of armed robbery, gang members. We made L.A. much safer in this 2-day operation. But the community, they're calling this an immigration raid, and they simply don't want immigration laws enforced. So we're going to keep doing our job. I said 100 times. You can protest all you want. You can make threats all you want. We're going to enforce the law. And we're going to take bad people off the street, and we're going to continue doing that. We're doing it yesterday, we're doing it today, and we're going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, so Tom, are you now intensifying the ICE raids? Do any of these riots or does any of this bedlam make you less likely to continue and move forward to push the deportation of alien criminals in our country?
We're adding resources. They're getting exactly what they don't want. We're adding resources. We're going to step up enforcement. We're going to send a clear message. We're going to enforce the laws of this country. We are prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats first. But if you're in the country legally, you're not off the table. So a sanctuary city like this, we go arrest a bad guy, we find a bad guy. They don't give us access to the jail, so we got to go to the community to find a bad guy. Many times you're with others who are in the country legally, but not a criminal target. Well, they're going to. So sanctuary cities, they're going to get exactly what they don't want. More officers in neighborhoods and more collateral arrests. We're also going to increase worksite enforcement operations. We can't get the bad guy in the jail, we'll get him in the neighborhood. We can't get him in the neighborhood, we'll give him that worksite. We're stepping up. So we're adding more resources to LA as we speak.
So it's just going to get worse for California and for probably the protests, by the way. Here's more going on with what's going on with Gavin Newsom. Here's Mike, Speaker Johnson, saying his thoughts on it.
The president said, possibly in jest, that if he were Tom Homan, he would arrest Gavin Newsom. Do you believe that Newsom should face consequences in a legal way?
That's not my lane. I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered, I'll say that. I mean, look, he's standing in the way of the administration and the carrying out of federal law, right? He is applauding the bad guys and standing in the way of the good guys. He is trying to, he's a participant, an accomplice in our federal law enforcement agents being not just disrespected, but assaulted. This is a serious problem, and the governor is now filing a lawsuit against the president. What a joke. Do your job, man. That's what I tell Gavin Newsom. Do your job. Stop working on your rebranding and be a governor. Stand up for the rule of law. He's not doing that. So I don't know what the ultimate measure will be there, but I know that in the interim time, the President of the United States is showing real leadership, and we're not going to allow L.A. to burn. We've seen this movie before, right? This thing gets out of hand real quickly, especially in a big city like that. And if local and state officials are unwilling or unable to do their job, the President of the United States will do his, and we support that fully.
Amen to that, right? Like, I mean, again, I love the fact that we finally actually do have leadership. Like, a lot of people aren't happy with how quickly we're making on the budget and everything else, but, I mean, damn, we're making progress on a lot of stuff pretty quickly. This is just awesome. I don't know, you'll enjoy it, I think. It's mean. This guy gets harshed.
Arrest Dead. Arrest. I'm right here. Back. 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 We need some milk.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of, yeah. Kind of what happens. That's what your dumbass get. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to take away from this man's brilliant work. Good job, sir. Very funny. Democrat senator turns on party for excusing anarchy in L.A. This John Fetterman, again, his party's like on the wrong side of this. He's calling them out, so good on it. Also finding out union chiefs, Jayapal, they're pledging solidarity with the illegals. Not Americans, not legal citizens, not the people whose stuff is burning, but the ones lighting the matches, if you will. Full Marine battalion of 700 are deploying to Los Angeles from Pendleton and 29 Palms. We've also got 2,000 additional National Guardsmen. This, again, happened over the night. I think Monday, from what I understand, was a little less crazy. Pentagon's estimating this is going to cost about $134 million. Again, not cool, but better than the cost of burning down the city much larger extent than they're planning on. So there's that. Major LA suburb ends contract with ICE after immigration riots. This city of Glendale stops a long-standing thing it had with ICE. So it just lost a big old paycheck that it was getting. It's given that up because it wants to seem like it's on, quote-unquote, the right side of this process. There was a really good piece in this on this particular story. Insurrectionist Democrats plan another summer of blue city riots. What I thought was funny, and I think a lot of people feel this way, and I can't disagree. I mean, again, this is about 45 minutes north of me. There's a certain part of me that's somewhat separated as well. I refuse to go into that city. I friggin' dislike that city with all of my being. But this really jumped out. It says, last time the federal government demanded Democrats obey the law and relinquish their cheap and exploited labor, they launched the Civil War. This time, it looks like they intend to burn down their cities. We've been expecting this to happen. This guy says, I'm fine with that. I don't live there. Insurrectionist Democrats choosing to burn their own cities rather than obey federal law is not my problem, nor is it an American problem. It is solely a Democrat-run city problem. If you voted for Karen Bass and you're watching in horror as your city burns, again, all I can say is that karma is pronounced LOL. Very funny. I 100% agree. Now, do we have full truth in our voting? I don't think so. So I know there are a lot of people, especially in this state, that are definitely not voting for Karen Bass. But Karen Bass won because of the cheating that's happening. The city council keeps winning because of the cheating that's happening. So I'm assuming, I'm guessing, I don't know for sure. I'm making I'm alleging. I don't know. But this is the problem we have, is we don't seem to have control of elections. We can give a crap who, what, where, how the voting's going to happen. The fact of the matter is, if they cheat on the election, it won't matter. Trump's gone. We'll lose our House. We'll lose Senate. We'll lose everything in the next election. So obviously, we've got a larger problem at work. I agree. And so I don't expect people to feel pity or empathize with us. Again, I've said where you're at is likely where you're supposed to be at this time. Not saying you belong per se, but if you're in a place of catastrophe and you're one of these people that just always seems to get stuck in the middle of shit, you're probably there to help. So do the best you can, sir or ma'am, because that's what we need at that time. But certainly send a lot of love to these areas, the people around, because that's what's going on. There's a lot of anger, a lot of angst, and it's not getting any better in the path that we keep taking. Armed National Guard troops are joining ICE agents for LA mass deportation. So these raids are going to continue. Now they just got protection. I think that's what a lot of the military is supposed to be in there. We're finding out from Kyle Cheney. He posted that Gavin Newsom's lawsuit against Trump goes to Judge Charles Breyer. He's the brother of the Supreme Court Justice and appointees of Bill Clinton as well. So obviously a lot of questions as to whether or not this is going to be fair at all for the government. But the expectations are going to happen. These guys are going to somehow put a stop or an injunction on Trump's ability to be able to do the National Guard. This should be interesting if they try to do that. There's no way in hell Trump's going to follow that, and that's going to hopefully immediately get to the appellate court, which is going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Way more harm can come from not dealing with this than what you're proposing. So, yeah, this is going to get very interesting. Again, how this all plays out, don't know. The movie's fantastic, though. Loving it. Like, I'm the guy standing over on the side with a flashlight, but I'm watching the movie too. I mean, I'm watching it with you guys. It's like, I can't believe that just happened. Wow. So again, it's fantastic. We've got Pam Bondi talking about a lot of the crap that she's come to thus far with this Los Angeles stuff. I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to play. I listened to quite a bit of it and like, all right, for shit, we're just going to play it until we decide it's not worth playing anymore. Maybe I played the whole 7 minutes or so.
Sean, what we're going to do is we are going to enforce the law regardless of what they do. Look at it out there. It looks like a third world country, and it's not. It's the United States of America. We are not standing for it. Donald Trump won't stand for it. And something else tonight, look at all those great men and women in the LAPD. We are going to protect them. If they will not protect them and prosecute people that abuse the LAPD in terms during a civil unrest under 18 U.S.C. 231, we can prosecute federally people who assault state law enforcement officers with a maximum of 5 years in prison, and we are going to do it. We are going to prosecute them federally. If California won't protect their law enforcement, we will protect the LAPD and the sheriff's office out there. Not only that, we have 9 open cases right now and more to come on assaulting federal officers. The Molotov cocktail cases that you've seen, we've charged 1, more to come, 3 outstanding. The looters, you saw they began to loot last night, going into 7-Elevens, going into drugstores. Typically, you don't charge those. We do under federal law now. Under the Hobbs Act, we are charging robbery. You loot a business in California, you are looking at maximum of 20 years in prison. You spit on a federal law enforcement officer, no more. As President Trump said, you spit, we hit. Get ready. If you spit on a federal law enforcement officer, we are going to charge you with a crime federally. You are looking at up to 5 years maximum in prison. The cinder block case, Sean. Remember that case? We have breaking news right now. The case where the guy was breaking up the cinder blocks and he was throwing them at police cars. The federal officer had injured his hand. He was wearing a mask. The FBI has identified him. Bill Isali, our incredible U.S. attorney out there working with ATF, DEA, and the FBI have been doing a remarkable job. That guy has just been identified, and they are doing a search warrant on his house as we speak. And he has been identified. See his face. He is going to be on, his name is Reyes. He is going to be on the most wanted list. You have broken the news. His face is out there right now. That's him. He has been identified by great police work by the FBI. So you can run. You can't hide. We are coming after you federally. If you assault a police officer, if you rob a store, if you loot, if you spit on a police officer, we're coming after you.
Okay, I want to be very clear. You said a lot there, Pam. There's a lot that I didn't know that the federal government had authority on. There is a federal law against hurting state law enforcement. So if California won't do their job, remember back in 2020, with 574 riots, we had 24 dead Americans, thousands of injured cops, pelted, very similar, bricks, rocks, bottles, Molotovs, cocktails. They didn't do a good job in Oakland. They didn't do a good job in other parts of the country. If you spit at officers, or in this case, you now have apparently a good lead and you're going after this guy. There were a number of people throwing cinder blocks and big ones at patrol cars. You're saying that federally speaking, it doesn't matter what the state of California do. And how big an issue is the supremacy clause in terms of who has jurisdiction here?
We have jurisdiction. And under 18 U.S.C. 231, we are going to go after you if you assault an LAPD officer, if you assault a deputy, we are going to go after you. If 3 or more persons in the course of civil disobedience injure or hurt a law enforcement officer, what's going on right now, you're watching that, we are going to prosecute you. No longer will you be left out alone in the cold, what they've been doing to them. If California won't protect state officers, we will. They're rioting out there, and our great men and women in the FBI, they have a command center set up. And again, look at the guy with the mask who we got tonight. We have identified him. Our FBI agents, our U.S. attorney, they have been working around the clock. We've all been on the phone with them all day long, and we're coming after you, and we will find you. The mask won't protect you. Technology is amazing right now. We are tracking you. We will find you, and you will go to jail, and we will prosecute you federally.
You know, Pam, I was listening earlier today or over the weekend, and I felt so sad for the LAPD chief. And he was out there saying, we are being overwhelmed by riots. This is the opposite. This is the antithesis of what the governor out there has been saying, what the mayor of Los Angeles has been saying. And he talked about the danger of that his officers out there are facing. I want people to listen because they've been lied to. Oh, they were told by Cory Booker, Maxine Waters, and Kamala Harris, and by, Gavin Newsom on MSDNC and local media. Oh, they're mostly peaceful. Well, let's listen to the LAPD chief.
We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw at cars, and throw at other people. We've seen people with hammers, and you've broadcasted, breaking the bollards behind the federal building and taking the rocks, if you will, or pieces of concrete, and throwing them at officers. We've had liquid of who knows what description thrown at officers.
Cinder blocks, liquids, hammers, Molotov cocktails. It seems to me that the president really had two choices here. Allow this to disintegrate, and I don't know how many people die. I don't know how many cops or law enforcement would be injured, and then act, or knowing that they have sanctuary city handcuffs on local law enforcement, act now and get involved early and hopefully save lives. If this continues, people will die. And I already have said on this program, Pam, many times that Mayorkas, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they have blood on their hands. Those people that lied to the American people as 12, 14, whatever the number is, illegal immigrants coming into this country, they have blood on their hands. We have known terrorists in this country, Iranian hit squads in this country. I'm sure you, Cash, and Dan Bongino dealing with this every single day. And it really is unfathomable to me that murderers, rapists, cartel members, gang members, how do we find them all and get rid of them all? And why are Democrats putting their so-called rights above the safety of their own citizens? I don't get it.
Yeah, and Sean, the police chief also said in that press conference, the feds don't mess around, and he's right. Secretary Noem, Secretary Hegseth, Stephen Miller and I were with President Trump today in the Oval Office. We were talking about this, we were discussing this, and we are lockstep together in protecting our citizens and getting these illegal aliens and these criminals out of our country. They think they can run to California and hide from the law. You've seen all the violent offenders that have been arrested in California. They can't. We are going to arrest you, we are going to prosecute you, or we are going to deport you. And we are also going to back the blue. President Trump gave us a very clear directive: make America safe again. And that's what we're doing, not just for California, but for all Americans. And we are going to continue to do that and protect our great country, and especially the men and women in uniform who go out every single day to keep us safe. None of them deserve what is going on right now. Look at that graphic. Look what they are going through right now. But we are going to do everything in our power to protect them.
All right, good stuff. Again, just grateful that we're moving in the right direction.
You pick Shapiro or anybody else? I spoke to him recently about
Let's fix that. Yeah. Let's do that. FBI's Patel says Bureau is investigating the funding behind all of this, so hopefully they're going to figure out who and where and what this is bringing this all in. All sorts of footage showing anti-ICE protesters doling out tactical gear in advance. This is kind of a trip how this was happening. Individual with a pallet, it looked like, of gear, not wearing a mask either, by the way, so I'm sure they'll figure out exactly who this ginormous individual is. But yeah, they had all sorts of gear. It was they had a specific brand called out on this. I don't know if you should be buying it or not. Bionic Shield. It was emblazoned across them. Apparently this is what they've been giving out to a bunch of people that were coming in and getting their face masks. I think they had bricks and everything ready. Well, they were chipping stuff off at every place. They've gotten smart about how they do it now. There was 2 daughters that were related to a congressman a senior Los Angeles official, whatever he is. He's got 2 daughters that are twins, probably done through normal genetic things because he's deep state. And one, I don't know if the one, they said it's not the chick on the motorcycle. I actually thought it was the chick on the motorcycle, even though they're both questionably not girls, but whatever. I mean, yeah, so strange stuff going on in this whole family. They both got arrested, by the way. So the dude he was going to go down and bail them out. That was the point of the story. But my point was, yeah, officials, kids are involved in the crimes. Go figure. The autonomous taxi service, Waymo, yeah, they said, yeah, we're pulling out of Los Angeles, period, just for now, for a while. It's just too risky. Not worth it. Thanks. So, good job, Los Angeles. This is what happens. Yeah, they're done. Well, why can't they come back? Yeah, well, too bad. If you ever anyone that actually used them, you can't anymore. That's how that works. Yeah, because you guys don't know how to manage your city. Again, maybe you continue to vote for these people. Eric Adams is saying, dude, we got some stuff going on here. We ain't letting you pull off what's going on with Los Angeles. You hurt anybody, we're going to hurt you. You try to do anything illegal, we're going to bust you for it. So, yeah, we got a number of places that are not putting up with the nonsense that's happening. Same thing's kind of going on with Florida. DeSantis told their little sheriff there down in Broward County. It was Broward County. It feels like it was so like yeehaw. What was that? Broward County? What was the one in Dukes of Hazzard? Broward. Wasn't that Broward County? Am I wrong on that? I didn't watch the show that much. I watched it some, but I didn't watch it that much. Oh, whatever. Long story short, this guy's like, we're not going to help the federal people with immigration stuff. Me. And DeSantis is like, oh, yeah, fuck you in the butthole. You're totally going to. And here's what's going to happen. We might nail you on contempt. You'll see if you even have a job by the end of this, you horrible individual. I'm adding some stuff because that's what I do. All said. Not cool nonetheless. More protesting going on in Dallas. This, of course, is much of that peaceful stuff.
From any of these cases. In fact, Homeland Security Secretary tonight on Fox saying they're going to arrest and charge protesters who are assaulting officers. So this is happening in real time, and it is the clash also, Caitlin, of immigration and law and order, 2 of the main issues of President Trump, all coalescing in this moment as people protest the methods of this administration.
And I also want to show what's happening in Austin. This is what's happening in Dallas. We also have similar scenes that are playing out, protests that are underway in Austin right now. Elliot, when you look at what's happening in Dallas there, I want to go back to that image that we were just showing. Obviously, things seem to be heating up there as you're looking at this scene right now in Dallas where they are clashing with the officers. A lot of people are looking at this, and what I asked to Tom Homan was, is this going to be the new normal going forward in terms of more National Guard being deployed to other cities as well?
Well, and it all depends, quite frankly, Caitlin, on what happens with the legal challenges to this implementation of the National Guard. Now, look, there are circumstances where the president can federalize National Guard. Now, there obviously...
Yeah, so things are, I would say bad. Yeah, right? So we're not going to let this kind of nonsense happen. This stuff isn't going to be supported. I think we've got enough support on the big picture, too, to not allow it. California GOP Congressman Darrell Issa is calling for an investigation into allegations that the Los Angeles Police Department did not promptly respond to protect ICE officers being assaulted. If it's true that it took 2 hours, that's unacceptable. Unfriggin' acceptable. Or whatever, right? That's what that is. So we are, we are just trying to do 2 things at once, like I was saying to myself just a moment ago. Because apparently talking to yourself is not okay. I was doing All right. Good Lord. Mexico's providing legal aid to illegal immigrants arrested by ICE in Los Angeles. Very curious how this is going to be perceived by the American government. We'll hear or see. I'm sure Trump at some point will make a comment. Job growth is up to about 99.8% in the private sector. Kind of cool. It's not government like mostly was Biden. Well, not mostly, but a lot of Biden's numbers were in that. Here's my new girlfriend right here. I told you, I told my girlfriend, it's over. I'm going after this chick from NTD News. I don't know. She's got her name in there. I forget what it is, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She's like pouty. I like her little pouty face. Something about it. Don't know. Something's wrong with me, folks. But doesn't matter. She's going to tell us something here about the automakers because they're in full panic. It's actually kind of cool because it helps you understand the rare earths. This isn't quite just what we thought. It's kind of like weird shit, actually. It's like chemistry nightmare here.
Negotiation table, car executives are concerned that China's tight export controls on rare earth magnets, essential for making cars, could bring production to a halt. Here's more.
Cars today use rare earth-based motors in dozens of components. They include side mirrors, speakers, oil pumps, wipers, and sensors for fuel leakage and braking sensors. Electric vehicles use more rare earths than combustion engine cars. Industry leaders are worried that the situation could become the third massive supply chain shock in 5 years. A semiconductor shortage wiped out millions of cars from production plans between 2021 and 2023. Before that, the pandemic shut factories for weeks. This time, as the rare earths bottleneck tightens, the industry has few good options. That's because China dominates the market. It controls around 70% of global rare earths mining, 85% of refining capacity, and about 90% of rare earths metal alloy and magnet production, according to industry data. The fate of automakers' assembly lines has been left to a small team of Chinese bureaucrats as it reviews hundreds of applications for export permits. In Europe, the region's Auto Supplier Association says several plants have already shut down, with...
I think her name's Tiffany, if I remember correctly. But, and I'm just thinking, if there's any chance of a future, I probably should learn her name at some point. It's driving a hard bargain, but we might go there. China needs, their needs for chemicals is kind of, I don't know, some say greater than our needs for rare earths, but the rare earth side we just covered. But there is actually a lot of stuff we make they don't have an easy way to get. And in fact, when the tariff went to 125%, it effed them hard in these particular types of things. So they imported more than 565,000 barrels per day of petrochemical feedstocks, they call it, from the U.S. in 2024. So this is $4.7 billion worth of stuff. So crap ton of money involved with all that, right? But we've got ethane, propane, butane. Those are some of the ones that we are apparently very good at making, and China needs. I don't know why they don't know how to make that stuff themselves. It's oddly weird, but whatever the case might be. But there's also this thing called naphtha or something. It's like a base chemical for, I guess making the blue meth. If you guys ever watched Breaking Bad. I don't think that's actually the case, of course, but this is special stuff. It's just one of those many feedstock chemicals that we uniquely make. And again, when tariffs went the way they did, that effed China too. So, a lot of the media is controlled by the deep state, aka Communist Chinese Party. So a lot of the stuff we hear might make it sound like everything's perfect in China. The talks they've been having, they've going good. I think we're in day 2. This is what Lutnick is telling us. Howard Lutnick, if it matters. So we'll see what we find out. The stocks are still meh. They were meh-ish because of they're waiting for what happens with China and U.S. When the talks happen, I'm sure something good will come from it. They'll say, hey, something good came from it. The stock market will have a good day. And then the very next day, the stock market's going to be like, oh, crap, now what? Because ultimately, they don't have anything to really go on to make things better. They're running out of runway, and they're not getting the altitude they need. So, it is what it is. Gold is hanging around 33.50. Basically, it's 33.46 right now. Oil kind of averaging a little higher, but it was, it's around 64.71 right now. It is moving forward, but we're, barely 0.5% of growth on any of the major markets at the moment. Look, I don't like their system. I don't trust their system. I recommend getting out of that. If you got a 401k or an IRA, or if you'd like to buy some precious metals, for sure, go to drslikesgold.com. That's drslikesgold.com. Check it out. Get some gold, or get out of their 401k or IRA into a precious metals IRA, tax-free, penalty-free, up to 10% free silver added. Yeah, up to 10% free silver. It's pretty friggin' awesome. You get this Ronald Reagan coin. You're going to get a free book. You're going to get this whole gold and silver kit. You're going to see my smile. And then, best customer service ever, Dan Radio Style says. And that's true. I was amazed. I thought their customer service was freaking awesome. They were so easy. It was the best experience. It was nice. Took care of what I needed. And bada bing, bada boom. Stuff was in the mail on the way to see me. Like literally within 24 hours, I had precious metals. It was pretty freaking awesome. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. House is, I guess, going to try to make some fixes to this bill. We'll see how this goes. We've got senators pissed off about it as well. GOP's deeply divided over cuts. So I'm kind of tripping on this a little. This is, of course, alleged sources or whatever, like all that kind of nonsense. But I think there's something in there that they're saying the parliamentarians not happy with, and so they might make a small change there. But I keep kind of wondering, why wouldn't you just try to get one vote rather than vote a few times? If maybe the Senate is going to be like, this can't be there either. So we're going to see. There's a little bit of chit-chat going back and forth. It looks like the House is probably going to have to re-vote on something, a modified version of the bill in some way, shape, or form. And then that one may be the one that the Senate will have, A, already voted on, or B, will agree with, right? Or at least enough to pass it. So we'll see. We'll see where we're getting with this. Again, July 4th, I guess, is the deadline for when it's supposed to be passed. This has been leaked, I think. Missouri GOP Senator Hawley, he's going to introduce a bill to raise federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Now, again, look, here's the thing. I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. What I'm going to say is what this will do for sure is create a big inflation. Huge inflation. Especially any place where it currently is $7.25 right now an hour and almost doubling it, a little more than, that will create insane inflation in those areas. Everything's going to get more expensive. Your rent's going to go way up. Your housing prices will go way up. The price of everything is going to go way up. Everything will become more expensive because everyone makes more money. And many would say, well, that's awesome because, you're making $7.25 an hour, you should be able to make $15. I hear you. Here's the thing. If you live in a place where $7.25 is the minimum wage, right, and you got a job, and then you went to college, right, and then you got a real job and started making money, and then you were you went in right out of college and you were making $12 an hour. You were like, damn, right? And then you've worked yourself up to $16 an hour over time. Minimum wage being $7.25, you're making $16. You're actually not doing bad. You're not doing great, but you're not doing bad. And then all of a sudden, minimum wage goes to $15 an hour. You're still sitting at 16. They don't push everyone's wages up, by the way. Just so you know, that never happens. Okay? If you were making more than minimum wage, every bit of your raises that you ever got prior to that moment just got erased. And you get nothing to show for it. Nothing. I lived here in California. I had a second job at a coffee shop. I loved doing it. It was fun. But it was funny is I'd get raises every year. Every year I'd get up 5% or whatever it was. I got the max. They loved me. I was good. I was good at what I did. I worked the register. I was able to do multitask really well, and I was really good with the customers. I had fun with it. They always loved me, and they came back. It was a good thing. It was good. It was groovy. Yeah, every time I got raises, minimum wage would go up and it'd eat away my raise. And I'm like, shit, man, I've been with this company 8.5 years and I'm freaking making minimum wage. And I mean, again, I laughed about it because I had another job where I made legitimate money, but yeah, it ate away every bit of my raise for 8.5 years. 8.5 years, 0 raise. Eaten up by minimum wage. So I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think going straight to 15 is a good idea, at least. That's a huge jump if $7.25 is the actual minimum wage. And it also brings up that tip thing, too, because there's states that actually will pay you less than minimum wage if you're making tips. So, yeah, I love the idea those people don't have to pay taxes. That's just fucked up. I've never, ever liked that. Like, here, at least you get minimum wage and you get your tip money. Like, that, to me, like, typically, a lot of the times, the minimum wage paid the taxes, if you will, and then you kept your tips. It was kind of cool. Amazon's going to invest $20 billion in Pennsylvania to expand a cloud infrastructure project. There's a power plant involved, a whole lot of good stuff. So that'll be good money for the area. So should be cool. Oh, wow. Really? Got that much shit? You kidding me? Are you kidding me? Judge determined the OPM, who is that? That's the Office of Personnel Management. When they gave Doge access, that they broke the law somehow. It's after the effect, so I don't even know how this is going to play out. And it's just one of those bullshit lawsuits. We'll see again. The fired FTC commissioner apparently has formally resigned. He was refusing to be fired. That happened back in March. He's finally resigned. I guess this is moving too slowly. He got a job opportunity. He's like, whatever, I'm quitting just so I can actually work another job. Whatever. It's stupid. U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss. Was it the rock that rolled? A rolling rock gathers no moss? Well, this Randolph has gathered quite a bit, it seems. He's denied a request for preliminary relief from 3 former members of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting Board. They were removed. Tried to basically shut down Trump's ability to fire them. They lost the case, everything. Legally, they can continue on. The board still has 2 people. And so basically the judge is like, yeah, sorry, no dice. Thomas Crook, the dude that shot Trump in the air. He apparently was looking up JFK assassination videos, distances, stuff like that. He was also supposedly talking to imaginary people or voices in his head or talking to himself or whatever. I'm going to say I talk to myself a lot. I also know some very intelligent people. It's a sign of intelligence a lot of the times, talking to yourself. Doesn't necessarily mean you're crazy. Sometimes you just talk because you can hear yourself say something and you're like, yeah. So it just allows other senses to come into play. It's actually smart to do sometimes if nobody's looking at you because it looks weird. Nowadays, you can just pretend you're on the phone, just point your ear and be like, and they won't know that you're just being crazy. But all said, Thomas Crooks supposedly talked to himself also and was looking up a bunch of stuff on JFK videos. Not that I'm saying he didn't. I don't know. Not that I'm not sticking up for him. I just I feel bad because I talk to myself a lot. I mean, a bunch. And many could say that's crazy. I would say, F you. Clean sweep. RFK Jr. has booted the entire CDC vax panel. They call them the rubber stamp panel. But, he fired them all of them. So the committee has been plagued with persistent conflicts of interest and has become little more than a rubber stamp for any vaccine. It has never recommended against a vaccine, even those later withdrawn for safety reasons. It has failed to scrutinize vaccine products given to babies and pregnant women. To make matters worse, the groups that inform ACIP meet behind closed doors, violating the legal and ethical principles of transparency crucial to maintaining public trust. Yeah, fired them all. That I'm sure is going to go to a judge at some point here in the near future, but it is what it is. Here is our good friend Bhattacharya telling us what did he get rid of? He got rid of the dangerous gain of function stuff. Yeah, they're not doing that crap anymore. Pretty freaking awesome.
Beginning long before the pandemic, the research community has debated whether the government should fund studies that enhance the ability of a pathogen to cause disease or transmit more efficiently among humans. I strongly believe we should not be supporting these kinds of risky experiments, which constitute only a very small fraction of the NIH portfolio. The NIH is actively identifying and ending dangerous gain-of-function research that could threaten public safety. The scientific debate about gain-of-function research demonstrates the importance of academic freedom. Diversity of opinion is essential in driving scientific progress. Interrogating evidence and challenging the status quo ensures scientific rigor and meaningful results. That's why I'm working to ensure scientists at the NIH can engage in open academic discourse without risk of official interference.
Make sure I clean that up. Well, I was not paying attention. Trying to do too many things at once right now. Not working out well in the big picture. Not doing any of them properly. The Justice Department on Monday charged citizen of China with smuggling another biological entity into the United States. This is something different. Last time it was a fungus of some kind, which was wasn't going to be very fun for us. It would have affected our wheat and barley, hops, all the different grains we've got. Would have been very, very bad. This is another biologic that they're trying to bring in. They fortunately caught. Thank God. Again, thank God we got some people that are helping us out. Telegram boss blasts France unprecedented case against him. Literally, they're blaming him for people that are doing illegal stuff on his platform. Like, he shuts them down when they tell him about him, but it's somehow his fault that they've committed a crime. This is what France is basically alleging. It's pretty effed up. France is pretty stupid. They also can't afford their own military spending right now. It's less stupid. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, 113% debt to GDP. They're essentially where we are, a little maybe further along. Or sorry, not quite as far along. I think we're a little worse than that. But yeah, I think we're actually making the right steps already to fix it. France is not yet, nor is Germany. Trump administration planning a massive parade. We talked about that already. No need to beat that one up. President Trump told Fox News that Iran has become much more aggressive in the nuclear talks. He says they're acting much differently in negotiations than it did just days ago. Much more aggressive. So I think they got some stuff from China and other people because they got the fuel from China. I'm wondering if they got, any other stuff maybe to help them out. Maybe even some nuclear grade material that they could use to make a bomb or at least test one and freak people out. I don't know. I feel something weird going on with this particular story. So, yeah, there's that problem in the big picture. Ron says it obtained a trove of documents of Israel's secret nuclear arms. They said they're going to release this information in the near future. Now, of course, many are going to say this is bullshit. Then a bunch of people are going to say, of course, they're saying it's bullshit because it's real. I'm curious if it's going to question whether Israel's got nuclear weapons. That seems to have been one of the biggest contentions, is whether or not these guys actually have nuclear weapons. God forbid they actually believe they don't, because then they might just straight up hardcore attack, like Turkey and Iran might just steamroll Israel, because there's no way to stop it. So, I mean, they've always had that with the Samson Accord or whatever that is, that they'd use nukes no matter what. Right? So we'll see. We'll see what comes out. UK imposes historic sanctions on hardline Israeli ministers. Big time guys out there. And a bunch of countries have done this. Now, your douchehole countries. U.S. did not, I don't believe, do the same thing. I think these sanctions were more just Canada, Australia, New Zealand, your standard group that would do that. But this was, I don't want to say their names per se, but the Israeli ministers Bezalel Smotrich, finance, and the Itamar Ben-Gvir of he's national security. So these dudes sanctions, I guess. It's crazy, right? Against Israel. I just want to remind you guys, Healthy Home. Go to Healthy Home, Healthy Life, Healthy Styles. Go to Healthy Home. There it is. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. It's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. You got your stem cells, you got your balance, you got your collagen peptides, you got your prime energy, and you've got stem active for your pets. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Make sure you got yourself on the auto ship too. It actually saves you like 5-10% or something like that too. So it's all win-win. Win-win, I tell you, folks. It's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. All right. Try to get the last couple stories out here. Russia's going to build 8 nuclear power plants in Iran. This is, nuclear power plants can be done just strictly for nuclear energy, and I think there's different fuels they use that can be produced into other fuels. So these are supposed to be just like, the ones that everybody wants. And Russia's basically agreed, we've heard, found out, with the United States' stance that no, Iran having a nuclear weapon is not a good idea for anybody at all on this planet. So there's some truth to that. Here's that ship that was on fire yesterday. It looks worse, actually. dude like on the microphone that goes broadcast outside, be like, "You missed a spot," like pointing at the spot over here where there's no water. Just saying, that would not be helpful, I'm sure. India's testing some AI-based machine gun they had. They said they tested it at altitude, is what, 14,000 feet? I don't know if they put it up on a hill or something, or they tested it on a hill that was 14,000 feet tall. It was able to discern different targets, and I don't know if it was accurate. It seemed to have been. Yeah, this gets into the whole, if they make a tool, they'll turn it into good and bad, right? So there you go. And that's not necessarily just a reason to not have tools, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to build things at all, right? So there's a weird place where people that are assholes just need to go away. 3 were killed in the newest Russian missile attack and a drone barrage. It was a pretty big attack that they did, 315 drones. I think there was, 8 missiles or something to that effect. And, hit some stuff. I don't know. Kremlin names reasons for new offensive inside Ukraine. They're trying to get that buffer zone created. Then they might talk about a ceasefire. We'll see when that happens or if it happens. Some dude did some more radar stuff on the pyramid site, the Giza pyramid site, and they say there's this whole underground structure. We'd already heard there's stuff underneath the pyramids, supposedly. Now there's supposedly this additional pyramids and additional cities, and so this whole extra slew of stuff. Maybe they're going to try to say this is where they pulled the rock to build the pyramids. Not even sure. It's possible. Multi-state lawsuit aims to block the sale of 23andMe's personal genetic data. There's 27 states that are trying to stop this. Kind of struck me as odd as some of the states that weren't there. California wasn't one of them. Colorado is, though. Why wasn't California? I don't know why. That's strange. And I don't know if it's who's tied in the most to China or, I don't know. Just like I said, there's some of the states that Florida's in there. Right? It's not just a strictly blue thing. But it was just weird that California wasn't in there. Is New York in there? I don't see. Yeah, New York's in there. Why? Whatever. Gavin Newsom just sucks for that reason, too. We'll just say, dude, why didn't you get on board with that at least, Gavin? Or whoever your attorney general person is in this state that I should probably know, but I don't. Let's see. Meta's launching an AI superintelligence lab, 9-figure pay. That's roughly, it's over 100 million is what that would work out to. That they're putting some serious money into AI. It seems strange that they're doing this now. I feel like they should have done this, 2 years ago, right? I don't know. Maybe it's because Trump's taking charge and we're trying to get people to help us. There's so many fun stories going on in the world right now. We can only speculate sometimes. Unfortunately, we lost another great one, folks. Sly Stone, 1943 to 2025. He has passed away. He is making music. And that there was some guy that put out some crazy place. I guess when we all go out to sleep at night, all of us, some of us don't get invited, but when we go to sleep at night, there's a concert, I guess, that goes on someplace. People just rocking out in some club. And, I guess he's probably performing down there now. I'm not sure. Or up there. I don't know where it's at exactly. All said, it's very sad. Folks, I love you guys. We're going to keep pushing and try to help move things forward as best we can. A lot is happening, a lot going on with the deep state trying to spin things up to make things more violent. I think there's this weird sense that a lot of us want violence. Frankly, I only need and want enough to get people to wake up enough, and then that's probably plenty. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But be safe. Keep safe thoughts on your mind, and don't get tied into the fear stuff, and be prepared for whatever, and you should do much better than most, that's for sure. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.